time to the good old days when the mama sang us to sleep, but now it's just will take me back to when I was young. How come I'm never able to identify where it's coming from?
What's going on, my own Padawans? Today, I want to start a new segment. Similar to what Renegade has done on Steelers Therapy. But today, I want to talk about positional depth chart. And who I think is going to make the 53-man roster at that position. And who I think is going to either be on the practice squad or get cut. So, started off today, I want to bring up William Gay, which we all know is going to be making the roster. Robert Golden's going to be making the roster at safety. Although, personally, I do think Sean Davis will win the starting position later on in the season. You have Mike Mitchell, who I don't know why, but a lot of people aren't a fan of him. My cousin went to school with him at OU and didn't like him off the field, but he's a hell of an athlete, and he will be starting for us this year, next year, and probably years to come. So he'll make the roster as a starter. Duran Grant, I was impressed with this preseason. Being an Ohio State fan, that made me happy. Granted, his pick six, I could have picked it off and taken it back for a touchdown. But beyond that, he showed a lot of potential in on-the-field coverage and open field tackles. Excuse me, sorry. So I do think he's going to make the roster as a backup to William Gay. Or they may even try him at the slot receiver. Or slot cornerback position. He is 5'10", 200 pounds. So it's not like he's 6 foot to 6'2", 205, 210 pounds, like most outside corners are this year, and a lot of other teams, like for example, Patrick Peterson for Arizona. He's not a small guy. He's a tall, lengthy, physical speed specimen, and we needed more of that on the team, which brings me up to the next guy. Our first-round pick, Artie Burns. There have been some rumors going around saying that he has a hamstring injury, which I do think he does, but it's nothing serious, I don't think, because he was back at practice yesterday as of August 15th. He will make this roster, and I do think he makes a strong push towards some playing time this year with Ross Cockrell and William Gay when they need breathers. Senquez Golson, it's unfortunate what happened to him 2 years in a row. I guess he's just injury prone with his size because he's only 5'9", 176, so he's a smaller guy. But I do think he'll be put on the practice squad as of this year, even when he comes back from that Liz Frank injury. But people don't understand that Liz Frank injury could be detrimental towards his career as a Pittsburgh Steeler, detrimental toward his career as a football player. That injury is so hard to come back from, especially playing corner, because as a corner you have to backpedal, as a corner you have to plant, as a corner you have to go up and reach and grab the ball. All those are movements on your foot. And with that injury to his foot, it's going to be hard for him to get that strength back to his foot, back to where he originally was, and bulk up, because he also needs to bulk up a little bit for next season, because he's only 5'9", 176 pounds. He's got to get up to around 185, 190, and maybe grow a little bit. Because other than that, he may not even see the field with the Pittsburgh Steelers because of his injury issues, which is unfortunate because I was really high on this guy coming into this season, coming off of that injury from last season to the shoulder. Sean Davis is the next guy. I really do like Sean Davis. Like I said earlier, I do think he will make the push start at strong safety, but because of the injury of Senquez Golson, he is forced to play a lot more slot corner, which personally I think he should be put back at safety and have Dorian Grant come in and try Dorian Grant a little bit at the slot corner position. You have Shamarko Thomas, which, believe it or not, I was quite impressed with in this preseason game on last Friday. He showed a lot of improvement. Granted, I still don't think he was going to make this roster this year. I think he's going to be on the practice squad. He did improve, but I don't think it's enough for him to make that push to be a starting corner. When you have somebody like Sean Davis and Robert Gold ahead of him, it's going to be tough for him to make that push to get playing time, even though I do think he is a great special teams player. That may be the only reason why he would be on the team at that point. Donald Washington, unfortunately, I don't think that we're going to keep this guy as on the roster. I think he's going to be a practice squad guy. Ross Cockrell, we know, is going to be starting at least for the beginning of the season opposite of William Gay. There's no question with that. Ross Bentrone, special teams ace, is going to make this team. He is hurt right now, but hopefully he can get back to this team as soon as possible. Jordan Dangerfield, practice squad at best. I think that we're going to get rid of him. I think we're going to get rid of Ray Venipal. I'm not a big fan of him. Then we have Montel Garner, who I do think is going to make this roster. He showed a lot of improvement and a lot of skill at the Steelers training camp this year, and I do think he's going to make the team. Jacob Hagan's going to get cut. And Al-Haj Shabazz. I think he's going to be on the practice squad. But he went to Westchester, which is a rival school of mine where I go to college. So I'm not going to tell you where I go, but if you know where Westchester is and if you know who Westchester's rivals are in most sports, then you could probably guess where I go to school. But I think he's going to be practice squad. So, next video, I'll bring up the linebackers and who I think is going to make the team, who I think is going to be on the practice squad, and who I think is going to get cut. I didn't have a lot of cut defensive backs here because we do need depth there. And I do think that's something that we need to address in next year's draft as well. Maybe not right away, because I do think next year's draft, our top needs are going to be inside linebacker, outside linebacker, well, both linebacker positions. A tight end if Green doesn't stay healthy and if Green doesn't get any sort of playing time this year. And we need to find a quarterback that's a suitable backup to Ben, because I'm sorry, but Landry Jones is not showing me why they drafted him a couple years back. I am not a fan of him. He had, maybe one or two good throws, but the issue that I have with him is his consistency and his on-the-field decisions. Shouldn't have thrown some of the passes that he did in that preseason game, but that may change